More of the same plaguing the Boston Celtics, but there's actually a good thing in the middle of all of this bad rebounding, and Hugo Gonzalez starts. That was great. We're talking about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Yup. Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis. We kept the madness every game, every practice. Primetime Depp and D White on the sideline. Raining Jays, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here in the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics. I talk about them every Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts on the weekends, which means I'm about to go on I think, 13 straight day string of podcasting because they play Friday and Saturday next weekend. So make sure you're subscribed. The show is free, so it's everywhere. It's on YouTube. Get into the comment section there. Share your thoughts with your fellow everydayers, people who are with me on a daily basis. I'm John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've been covering the team for about 20 years now, and I've written a couple of books about the team. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Celtics lose again to this time it's the Detroit Pistons, 119-113. Later on, I'll talk about Jaylen Brown's game. He dropped 41, but he himself admitted not enough. That's coming up later on. Second segment will be all about Hugo Gonzalez, who got the start. We'll talk about that in the second segment. I was about to start on, I'm so anxious to talk about it. But let's just start with this. More of the same. That's the headline of this game. More of the same. The Celtics allowed 18 offensive rebounds. They gave up 30 second chance points in this game. The offensive rebounding that they're allowing is, like I've said before, we knew it was going to be a problem, but once again, over the top, how big of a problem it is to allow 45%, 46% of the available defensive rebounds or available rebounds to go to your opponent is an obscene number. To let your opponent, once again, second game in a row, rebound almost half their misses, there's just no way you can come out of that. There's no way you can win games by allowing that many second chances because you're giving the other team all of these extra shots. And this is the good thing that I'm talking about in the midst of all of this horrible rebounding. The good thing is, you're forcing a lot of misses. You can't give up a million offensive rebounds if you're not forcing the other team to miss a lot of shots. So this is bad. This rebounding bit is bad. But they are so close to being okay. And I know that's like, maybe I'm shoehorning an optimistic view into a very negative element to this season, but we don't need the Celtics to be a great rebounding team. They are not going to be. We know what they're made of. We know that Neemias Queta is the only big with any size that Chris Boucher and Luka Garza and Xavier Tillman, who didn't even play in this game, which sucks because he's from Detroit and he had 40 people there at the game. I don't know. It feels like that. I don't know. I don't know why he didn't play. This is the second game in a row where a different person didn't play. And I'm like, why couldn't you have had Tillman in against like Isaiah Stewart? Why couldn't have he gotten in there and played some minutes there? But regardless, the Celtics, we know, are not going to be a good defensive rebounding team. Right now, they are an abjectly horrible rebounding team, the worst rebounding team we've seen. The only way it could be a worse rebounding team is if I, at my current state and health, go out there and try. That's how bad it is. But they don't need to be good. They just need to be better. And they need to be better at a lot of things. Like, they are forcing turnovers, but they're not taking advantage of that too. So Joe Mazzulla after the game says, we need to grab the rebounds, those late, the timely ones, right? It's like the old Shaquille O'Neal thing where he's like, I don't make my free throws, but I make them when they count, right? You don't grab a lot of defensive rebounds, but at the end of the game, the Celtics should be grabbing those. Like the last 3-4 minutes of the game, Celtics cut it down to 3. Come down, get a stop. Technically not a stop, but they force a miss and offensive rebound, put back. They're down 4, come down, force a miss, offensive rebound, put back. Come down, they're down 5, still within, striking distance. Force a miss, give up a rebound, that turns into points. They do that twice down 5. Even when the shooting is bad, and the shooting continues to be bad, right? Derek White, 3 of 11. Peyton Pritchard, 2 of 8 from 3. Overall three-point shooting, 33.3%, and that's with Jaylen Brown going 5 of 9. They can't give up those offensive rebounds. It's one thing to give up the offensive rebounds early in the game. Down the stretch, and I don't know if this has to be a philosophical change. I do think there's one little philosophical tweak that they need to make in their ability to challenge shots. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, guys that like to challenge shots and get blocks. I think they need to pivot to taking charges because they go up to block shots and no one behind them is able to box out and get rebounds. A lot of these offensive rebounds end up coming off of challenging shots in the paint. And I just think that philosophically, they may have to start taking charges. They may have to start stepping up and saying, you know what? If we're going to take a foul, if there's going to be a potential for a basket, I'd rather take my chances. Honestly, stop the clock. If you want to make them earn it, if you want to get a bang bang play, fine. You put them on the line, maybe, sure, but you might get the stop. You might be more likely to get the stop if you're getting a charge. Derek White used to be a big charge taker, and he got away from it because he's a great shot blocker. Jaylen Brown's not a big charge taker. He's taken them in the past, but he's not. He's an athletic guy. He can jump. He can block shots too when he needs to. But maybe he needs to get in there and take charges. Other guys maybe need to take charges. I think a pivot to taking charges can actually help them stop giving up some of these offensive rebounds, especially as teams start to drive hard on them. I think that could be a pivot because, again, down the stretch, they shot poorly. They gave up a ton of rebounds earlier. They gave up a ton of second chances. Like I said, 30-second chance points. Instead of challenging those shots, maybe you take a couple of charges and that negates a couple of those offensive rebounds. That is my only solution here because they need some kind of solution other than buckle down, all 5 guys rebound. I know Brian Scalabrine on the broadcast was, jokingly harping on that, but you really need everybody. You really need everybody. And Jaylen Brown said it again. I need to rebound better, but it's more of the same, and that has to change. It has to change enough so they can avoid these kinds of losses. I knew that they were going to start terribly. I've said on this podcast, I've gotten a lot of crap in the comments about saying that they have the potential to start 2-5, 1-6, 0-7 on this opening schedule. And here they are 0-3, and it doesn't look great. But the simple changes are finding a way to get at least a few of those defensive rebounds and finding a way to turn these turnovers into points. The Celtics had 12 turnovers for 13 points. The Pistons had 16 turnovers for 13 points. The Celtics are forcing more turnovers than they give up, but they're losing that battle. I wrote about this on Boston Sports Journal. This stat is actually pretty bad. The Celtics are forcing more turnovers per game than last year. 4 more turnovers per game, 16.7. Last year, the best in the league forced 17 per game. So they're right there. They are turning the ball over 13 times. In the early going, best in the NBA. So you're getting 3 or 4 more turnovers per game. However, Celtics opponents are scoring 17.7 points per game off turnovers, and the Celtics are averaging 14.3 turnovers per game. So on average, you're forcing 3 or 4 more turnovers per game, but you're losing that battle points wise by 3 or 4. How is that possible? You can't do that. You cannot do that. The Celtics have to turn those turnovers into points. So bad shooting, sure. And I'll get to that in a second. I'll come back and talk about that actually. But if you're forcing the turnovers, you got to cash in. A few timely rebounds, right? Just 3 rebounds instead of 30 second chance points, 25 second chance points, 20 second chance points. And then a few more points off turnovers, and this entire thing is different. After the game, Peyton Pritchard said people talk about this differently if we're 2-1, and they easily could be 2-1. They could be 3-0, honestly, if a few things change. But realistically, they could at least have one win here. Either this game, pick one. They could have won at least one of these games. Just a couple of timely rebounds and cashing in on the points off turnovers. Shooting issues, I'm not as worried about. I'll talk about that. And Hugo Gonzalez starts. Let's get into the positive stuff when we come back. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Let's be honest. Most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts. So, I mean, I can sit here and try to remember all of them, but over time, you have a retirement account, you have a couple little investment things here or there, you got a little savings account. Oh, that's right. I have a little bit of money tucked away there. All of that stuff, it's easy to lose track, especially when you're my age in your 50s. You don't know what you've accumulated. You've lost, you've left a job, and that's right. I have a thing back there that has money there. Monarch can help you organize your accounts. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool. So you take a couple of seconds, you put everything into Monarch. It tracks your spending. It gets you a hand on your investments. You don't have to touch a spreadsheet. You can review everything with your partner, see shared goals, and make better financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboards and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where your money is going and how to make it work harder for you. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's show is also brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season here. You're a Celtics fan. Maybe you're on the road somewhere. Maybe you're in one of these cities or New Orleans or Cleveland or one of these places, Philly, that the Celtics are going to go. Maybe you want to get in on the action here. Game Time can really help you do that. It gives you an advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets, fast, easy, stress-free. I've used Game Time plenty, so I'm not eligible for this offer, but I know how this works, right? There's no waiting in long lines. There's no surprise fees. You just go. You can see on the app the view that you're going to get from your seat. Maybe you're in an unfamiliar arena and you don't know what you're going to get. They can show you what you're going to get. No surprise fees, no hidden fees at checkout. So check it out. They've got zone deals. That's a game changer because you just pick the section and they pick your seats. So you can save big on that. There are even some NBA tickets there for under $25. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's Locked On NBA, LOCKED, Locked On NBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA and Locked On NBA Game Night. Game Night's covering every game in the association. I am there on Wednesdays with Jake Madison, so check it out. And Locked On NBA is 5 days a week in the afternoons covering the big stories. Big story for the Celtics is Hugo Gonzalez. I'll get to him in a second. I did want to touch on the shooting issues because Peyton Pritchard did talk about that. He shot 2 of 8. Pritchard's 3 of 11. So 5 of 19 is not good between those two. Jaylen was 5 of 9 from 3. Anthony Simons was 2 of 7. That's okay. Hauser was 2 of 5, 40%. So basically White and Pritchard are the two guys. And Pritchard talked about how he's adjusting to being a starter. And he said it is an adjustment. You warm up differently. You get into the flow of the game differently. And I do think that there's something there that is challenging Peyton Pritchard. Does that mean he shouldn't be a starter? I don't think so. I think this is it also doesn't mean that he should be a starter. That we're not in a big enough sample size yet where we can make a determination Peyton should start, shouldn't start. I think he's getting used to the daily kind of flow of that. It's one thing to be like, I'm a bench guy, but every once in a while, I get forced into the starting lineup. That's no problem. I like it. Great. Knowing that you're a starter, it's a different mentality. And so much of what happens in a game is mental that you just, to have that different mentality going in and saying, I'm a starter. I'm warming up at a different time. My job is different. You don't just play the same exact way. The team needs you to do different things. It is a little bit of a challenge. But look, Pritchard still had 21 points, 10 rebounds. 10 rebounds to lead the Celtics, Peyton Pritchard. That's exactly what the Celtics need. They just need better rebounding from everybody else. 4 assists, 8 of 16 overall shooting. He attacked Duncan Robinson mercilessly. I thought inside the arc, he was great. I thought Pritchard actually played a pretty good game, but he just didn't shoot well. If he makes one more shot, it becomes a little bit of a different story. But maybe 2. But regardless, he's in a slump. I'm not worried about guys in shooting slumps. Pritchard, White, Sam Hauser, who again was 2 of 5. Those are the guys that you just trust, right? Over the course of time, their history tells you things even out. So we can't take 3-game samples. You can take a 3-game sample from any point in these guys' careers and say, well, this 3 games tells me that this guy's the best shooter ever. And this 3-game sample tells me he's the worst shooter ever. This stretch, I'm not worried about that. So much of this shooting stuff will normalize. There will be games where Pritchard and White shoot 6 of 8, 7 of 10. And we'll be like, oh, wow, what a hot shooting night from these guys. And that will even things out. It will level off. I'm not worried about the shooting. And it would be great if the shooting kind of caught up now. It's one of the things that really sucks about this team is everything is going wrong. I think they have stretches. Like I said, the first quarter of this game was great. They looked great for most of the first quarter. If they were shooting well, it could mask some of this stuff. But also in other ways, it's kind of, you can say it's kind of good that the shooting is like everything is going wrong because you can see in stark reality, okay, wow, look at everything that look at all of these blemishes. This is not great. And it forces you to kind of come to grips with, okay, this is not a great team. This is a mediocre team, right? I said 44 wins, and a couple of wins down the other way, you're a 500 team. And it allows Joe to do things like, hey, you know what? I'm rewarding Hugo Gonzalez because the energy, the effort is there, and I'm not worried about the shooting. This isn't about winning these early games. It's about the incremental progress. So shout out to Hugo for putting forth the effort against the Knicks where Joe says, you know what? I need everybody to see that when you play this way with the right intentions, the right way, you're going to get rewarded. Hugo gets rewarded with a start. Now, I've said here and online and at Boston Sports Journal, I think Hugo Gonzalez is going to be a starter for this team eventually. Now, he did start this game, and I took advantage of me saying I think he's going to be a starter, and I kind of tweeted that out everywhere. But I do think that this is going to be his regular role at some point. Now, I don't know. He might not play against New Orleans. He might play. Sam Cassell said, we're going to use him against the other team's best player, which you can't use him against Zion Williamson, or I don't know, or can they? Or can they? Maybe they do. I don't know. But I like the fact that he was rewarded. And I like the fact that he paid off immediate dividends. He had 2 steals, a block. They came early. He had that immediate energy. They matched him up with Cade Cunningham early on. I thought that was great. Now they moved on to Josh Minot, who he did great, 10 points in 14 minutes. He had a stretch where he had like a couple of steals, a 3, a basket, a foul, a funny celebration with Neemias Queta where Queta bumped him and he went flying the other way and he was even laughing about it. So you have these different guys that you can go to, but I love that Hugo got the start. And it seems like he's going to get a lot of time in the NBA. Like I've said before, I don't care what the Celtics determine his developmental path to be. If they said, hey, you know what? We want him to play in Maine and get 35 minutes a game. Totally fine with that. If they said, we're happy with him getting the 18 minutes a game or whatever it is in Boston, playing a more limited role, great. Whatever it is the Celtics want to do with him is fine with me. It seems like he's going to get more time in Boston, but I can certainly hear the argument that, hey, the role in Boston for the Boston Celtics is going to be more limited to defense and a supporting role. We want to see him grow offensively and be a ball handler and a passer and a playmaker on top of everything else. So we're going to send him to Maine where he can do that. That's totally fine with me. In fact, I would love to see it. But whatever it is, I'm happy that he got the start. I'm happy that things are paying off. A kid that young getting this kind of recognition and succeeding, at least somewhat, is a big positive. So even though the Celtics lost, I find the Hugo Gonzalez story from the past couple of nights great. And I think that's great. Jaylen Brown had 41. He said it's still not enough. The expectations on Jaylen are coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. We are knee-deep in the NFL. We're knee-deep in the NBA, and there's no better place to get into the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of a game, or if you want to ride the hot hand and see like Jaylen Brown in this game, FanDuel has live bets from everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving you, the new customer, $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. When you sign up, make sure you sign up for that budgeting. It's the first thing that you're going to get when you sign into FanDuel. It'll ask you to set your budget. Do it. Set your limit so you're only betting what you can afford to lose just in case you hit a cold streak like Peyton Pritchard from 3. You never know when you're going to hit a little bit of a cold streak. Have that safety net so you can gamble responsibly. Head over to FanDuel.com, sign up, and play your game at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Check out Locked On Locked On Fantasy Basketball. I already told you about Locked On NBA. Locked On Fantasy Basketball with Josh Lloyd, your league is competitive. You want to win it. You don't know who to add or drop on any given night. Maybe you haven't paid attention. If you listen to Josh, he's going to help you win your league because he's going to tell you, get rid of this guy, pick up this guy. And those are the little moves that are going to help you win your league. Let's get back to the game here. Let's just go through the box score a little bit. Nimi was okay. I thought he had some good moments, including that steal and dunk. That's always fun. Derek White, okay. Like I said, shooting wise, not great, but a little bit of a slow start, I would say, for Derek White. But I trust him. Anthony Simons had a few moments, but a minus 13, 12 points on 5 of 13 shooting. The bench, Sam Hauser moved to the bench. That might be a better role for him. I need Sam Hauser to get more shots. Luka Garza came back from the concussion, played 13 minutes. Josh Minot, as I said, was really good in his 14 minutes. A spark plug. I like him and Gonzalez are going to be the spark plugs, and I like that. Nothing much from Baylor Shireman or Chris Boucher. Surprised that I didn't see Xavier Tillman, as I said before. But Jaylen Brown was the big story as far as scoring. 41 points, 12 of 25 from the field, 12 of 15 from the line, 5 of 9 from 3. This is a superstar line. 41 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 12 of 25 shooting, getting to the line 15 times. It's all great stuff. All great stuff from Jaylen Brown. And yet, somehow, it's not enough. And that's the unfair ask that is being made of Jaylen Brown. He said after the game again, I need to rebound better. He understands. He gets it. This isn't just Jaylen Brown, the scorer. This isn't just Jaylen Brown going out there. 41 points on 12 of 25 and 5 of 9 and 12 of 15. You might be like, did my job. I don't care what the rest of you got to do. But that's not what they need from Jaylen Brown. They need more distribution. They need more awareness. They need more rebounding. They need him to be there boxing out. It is, again, an unfair ask of any player. They are asking him to do more. They might be asking him to do more than any player in the league. Like a team asking Jaylen, like no team is asking their star player to be all of the things that the Celtics are going to need Jaylen Brown to be. If they're going to win these games, maybe they don't care about winning these games necessarily. Maybe they need Jaylen to take a step back and say, hey, let these guys fail so they can learn how to walk, but for the Celtics to be good, Jaylen needs to get in there. He needs to be a rebounder. He needs to be more of a distributor, but he needs to be more of a communicator, defense, on defense, like getting guys in position. He kind of needs to be a little bit of everything. And that's tough because he's not done that. He's not a backline defender that's used to calling out coverages, but he's going to have to do that. He is not a point guard that is used to monitoring every defensive kind of adjustment and saying, oh, when they do this adjustment, these are the guys that are going to be available, right? That's something that you have to, when you're a point guard, when you're an elite point guard, when you're a playmaker and a tone setter, you have to be aware of, okay, this is how they're covering the pick and rolls. When they do this, we've got this guy, and I got to be aware when I see that I got to do this. Some players can just process that right away. Some players might be a little bit slower. Jaylen needs to just become the guy that processes all of that right away. This season, anyway, again, it's a lot. It is a lot. My feeling, and I've said this before on the podcast, my feeling is that if he does kind of half of this stuff that the Celtics are asking him to do or need him to do, then it'll be his best season ever. He could have the exact same statistics last year, but have developed all of the awareness and all the stuff that I'm talking about. And I would say absolutely Jaylen Brown's best season, and that would make him an all-NBA player. I think he's capable of doing more. I do think he's capable of rebounding better. And obviously, I mean, he said the rebounding is the thing. And on the surface, the rebounding is the thing. So he needs to get in there more. Everybody needs to get in there more. Whoever's starting. Hugo, 18 minutes, 1 defensive rebound, not good enough. And I haven't even looked at the film to say that whether he's been in position to do that, but that it's still unfairly saying it's not good enough. Everything that we're asking these guys to do is unfair. It's patently unfair to ask them to do more, but they have to do more if they're going to win these games. They have to play above their heads. They have to be greater than the sum of their parts. They have to kind of Indiana Pacers this thing. They can't play like they did last year. They can't be last in pace. They have to be in the top 10 in pace. And right now, they're at the bottom in pace still. They have to be winning transition opportunities. Fast break points in this game, 21-14 Detroit. That cannot happen. Points in the paint, 50-40 Detroit. Cannot happen. If you're getting out in transition, those are going to be layups. You're getting more points in the paint. Second chance points, obviously a problem. But the Celtics, you're asked to do a lot as a member of the Boston Celtics. Everybody's being asked to do more than maybe we even think they're capable of. But that's the ask. And we'll see. I think it's a big ask, but you make the ask because if they can all kind of get a few steps closer to that, they're going to start winning a few of these games. So we'll see. They've got the Pelicans on a back-to-back. They've traveled. So with the early start, it's not as bad, but it's still, back-to-back. And I don't even know if Jaylen's going to play. He wants to play, but that hamstring is stiff, and he said he might not. And if he doesn't, that's going to be a problem. Then you've got a tough stretch ahead still. I still think it's going to be a long time before we see the Celtics win a game. Now, once they do start winning games, they could pile up a couple, 2, 3, 4 in a row. We'll see. But tough start, and it's not a surprise. But they have it. They have something within their reach. They just got to clean up the stuff that we've been asking them to clean up. I will be here. Like I said, I'm doing 13 podcasts in a row, 13 days of podcasting in a row. No days off because they play on the weekend, next weekend, Friday and Saturday. So I will be here. The shows are all free. They're available everywhere. They're on YouTube. Get into the comments section there. Would love to see you join the rest of the everydayers who are also with me every Monday through Friday and in these bonus podcasts. And then please share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.